evening and a warm welcome back to another session in the series of Meeting an Expert. As Asia Pacific Institute of Information Technology, known as APIT Sri Lanka, we are honored to be hosting this session today as well with our special guest on board with us. Let me warmly welcome all of you, especially our students who are on board with us today in this platform, and all our distinguished partners who are joining from foreign universities, and of course our foreign delegates and diplomats who are joining from all around the world today with us, and finally all our distinguished guests who have been invited and who are with us today as well. So to start off with the session, let me invite our chairman of APIT Sri Lanka, Mr. Bandula Egodage, to share his wishes and expressions. Chairman, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Kaushali. It is very privilege and it's an honor to have today Mr. Sujeewa Rajapakse, well known to all Sri Lankans as well as the foreign circles. Today, on behalf of our CEO, Mr. Roshan Egodage, and the board of directors, APIT, the staff, and also the entire population of APIT, very, very warmly welcome you here for this important webinar, Mr. Rajapakse. In spite of a busy schedule and devoting your valuable time for the development of Sri Lankan students, as usually what you are doing. So it's a great opportunity for us to have your contribution today for the development of APIT students. As you know correctly, I'm sure that you have a certain personal experience with APIT in your life, and you are known APIT as the very high quality education. So beyond one step ahead, we believe from APIT that not only the academic excellence, we want to have some well-surrounded overall experience to become a very fruitful personnel into the society. Therefore, we want to have a lot of extracurricular activities to fulfill their lives when they leaving APIT. So that initiative actually taken by Dr. Rohan Tatukorala, you are maybe over 50 of the opinion leaders like you contributed to this journey. So again, we to fulfill that experience to all our students, and also to have direct intervention like personality like you, the opinion leaders. We request all our student population to get the maximum out of you at this moment, because end of the day, what is our task is at this age, Mr. Rajapakse, you and I, basically we are here the journey of giving something back to the society. I'm sure you will really enjoy what you are doing currently, not only for this APIT seminar, but in as a whole, we believe that it is our turn to give something back to the society. That is why you are here today with us. I'm sure this will certainly enhance the value and certainly add more and more value addition to entire APIT population. So having said that, thank you very much for your valuable time, sir, and really greatly appreciated on behalf of APIT. So thank you, and over to you, Kaushali, for the right introduction. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chairman. And with that, let me now invite Dr. Rohantha to introduce our speaker for the day. Dr. Rohantha, over to you.
Thank you very much, Kaushali, and I think it's an absolute honor to have such an eminent human being in our midst. Sujeewa Rajapakse, Chairman People's Bank, Chairman of People's Leasing Finance PLC. He's also the managing partner of BDO Partners, a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka, a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Management Accountants of Sri Lanka, FCMA, and Masters of Business Administration from the Postgraduate Institute of Management, University of Sri Jayawardhanapura is Mr. Rajapakse's academic qualification. During his professional career that spent nearly 4 decades, he held honorary positions as the President Vice President, Council Member-elect of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka, IACL, Honorary Treasury of Sri Lanka Cricket, Treasury for Cricket World Cup 2011. He has also served in the direction of the National Development Bank PLC, NDB Capital Limited, Bangladesh, and the Finance Corporation PLC. He has also served as the member of the Monetary Policy Consultative Committee of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, CBSL. At present, he serves as the Chairman, People's Bank, Chairman of People's Leasing Finance PLC, and also is the Independent Non-Executive Director of HECA PLC, Dip Product PLC, Haley's Agricultural Holdings Limited, and Mr. Rajapakse is on the Council of Members of the University of Sujeewa. His expertise includes accounting and finance, banking, auditing standards and practice, government regulations related to financial disciplines of ethics, human resource management, overall management practices and principles of both private and the public sector. Sujeewa Rajapakse is a past pupil of the Richmond College of Gaul, and I remember so vividly how Sujeewa and I sat on the board of the finance when the central bank actually appointed us as their custodians during the transition. And it was actually a 3-year term, which we did with so much of interesting experience, which actually I learned so much from Sujeewa. I mean, he's a beautiful human being, professional, and it's an honor for us to have him on today's show. I mean, he's doing a very responsible job for Sri Lanka. Sometimes I ask him why he's doing it also, because I mean, he's a professional in the private sector. So we like to hear you, Sujeewa Rajapakse.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you for your kind introduction. Also, thank you, Bandula Egodagi, Chairman APIT, and thank you, Kaushali also. Yes, when Dr. Rohantha invited me to make about 15-20 minutes speech, I said, okay, I'll do that, because that's a passion, that I have. In fact, Dr. Rohantha, when he was introducing me, yes, he set the tone that we both were sitting in, the place, of course, appointed by Central Bank to resurrect a company which was basically gone down the drain. That was absolutely during tough times in that particular area, the company. And we have been able to bring it up to certain levels. Let's say monthly loss 200 million, we brought it down to 65 million. Imagine monthly. So that's a tough time. And looking at from today's topic, I have been given to discuss, or the topic is staying focused during tough times, which is very, very important topic for each one of us, irrespective of whether I'm a chartered accountant, academic, or you are in different disciplines. But each one of you, even a beggar who is on the road, also will, they are having tough times. Everybody across not only here in Sri Lanka, across the world, across the board. So that is what we need to be careful, because I think especially three of us, Bandula, Rohantha, and myself, we are in the same vintage. You may remember, and we have been having enough issues, tough times in our lifetime. So starting from 1970s, we had various difficulties with different parties, and then 30-year war. Then also we had tsunami, where the 40,000 people, we lost their lives within few seconds. And then it came to the Easter attack. Then again now, last little less than a year, the pandemic, COVID. So you can imagine the tough times that we have been facing for last few decades. So, but still we are surviving. That is important. Still we are surviving. So now, if you look at the COVID pandemic, that is the most destructive event on earth since the Second World War. So that you can imagine the size and the difficulty. It's not only confined to Sri Lanka or in only this subcontinent. It's across the board, across the world again. So we need to understand as the academics or the whoever professionals and the people who are around here today. What do we do when you are having rough times, tough times? Then what do we do? How do we behave? That is what important. When you get up early morning, you understand, but you can't hear anything good. You always have enough question marks in your mind. So, but life is struggling. That part you need to understand, because the reality is about something that affects to all of us. That is, one is life is struggling. So we always have to go through this. There are no question. You can't get out from this. You can't get out from this. You have to go through this. You have to face the reality. But that all depends on how you face this situation, how you look at this event. It's not only pandemic, maybe due to certain other things that you will have rough times. So then the tough means, we must be strong enough to withstand adverse conditions, the resilience. So we must be, so then for that, you must have your mental fitness, your physical fitness, your biological fitness, your psychological, everything has to be there intact. So for you to face this situation, because these are hard moments that can seriously put a damp on your spirit, your work ethics, your productivity, and generally every aspect in your life. I believe that you understand that generally every aspect in your life, this affects. But what do we do? Can we get out from this? No, it's not possible. Not possible at this moment. But every responsible government, let us say now, they are trying to come out with this, not only here in Sri Lanka, everywhere. So depending on their capacities and capabilities, they are trying to do that. But any significant change in our life or your life can cause increased anxiety and stress and even depression. So imagine. So those are very, very important. I know some of us are in really depressed mind. So imagine me being, say, I handle the People's Bank as one of the largest banks and one of the state-owned banks here in Sri Lanka. Then People's Leasing PLC, which is again one of the largest leasing companies. And apart from my own practice video partners, where I have fairly large number of clients where we provide the various services. But how do we do that? That is important, because the stress is up to the maximum. Stress is up to the maximum, but we need to know how you manage the stress and how we stay positive in this game, which is very, very important. But then it's crucial and not to sweep over things happening to all around you. You can't simply avoid that. You need to make sure that you face for this, because going through tough times in a significant part of our life, so that you have to understand about this. So let us say now, if you take Sri Lanka, and everybody is talking a lot about Sri Lanka, from say 15th of March 2020. So that's the date that the pandemic or the COVID hit here in Sri Lanka. You need to understand, we being an island nation, we have been basically depending on few important things, in our country. Our main source of income, obviously, you need to have national income from tourism or the leisure industry. B, again, from apparel industry. C, the people, our brothers and sisters, who have gone abroad, earnings or rather remittance, and plus predominantly, conventional kind of exports, tea, rubber, coconut, and all that. But imagine when our earnings from leisure sector has been about 4 to 5 billion US dollars per year. So that's huge. Same manner, apparel also 4 to 5 billion. But apparel is concerned, more exports, more income, more imports, because you need to import raw materials, which is about 60% average. So only 40% is the value addition. That is also sometimes it could be 30%. But whereas leisure industry is concerned, contribution is much more. So imagine Sri Lanka has lost about, at least within these 2 or rather close upon 2 years, we would have lost about at least, my estimate is 12 to 15 billion US dollars. So from where do you get that money? Is there any other way that we get? Do we have enough reserves? No. So that we have been basically depending on those. So as a result, obviously you need to understand whoever the government who is in power. So now the present government, they immediately intervene and they stop certain non-essential imports that you are aware. Now I can't even go for a new vehicle now. That is because now the government, because 5 billion, mind you, 5 billion US dollars was the vehicle import cost for a year. 5 billion US dollars. It's not a small amount. So people think that we were in a rosy picture. People are blaming each other. That's not the game. But we need to face the reality. We are in a tough time that we need to understand. So our reserves are basically depleting. And the people, the brothers, sisters who are there, abroad, that their remittances are gradually going down because of the fact, because of the restriction, import restrictions, some of the importers, they collect these money from those countries itself without remitting, allowing these people to remit money here. Because as a result, there are the major impact. So obviously, the government had to come out with various measures to control those damages. So then we are again in tough times that we need to understand. Then again, now whatever the discipline we are in, my friends, we are in a VUCA world, VUCA, that we need to understand. What do you mean by VUCA world? Number one is volatility. The market is highly volatile because changes due to COVID-19 are taking place every day, unpredictable, dramatic and fast. So that is called volatility. And there's U is uncertainty. And everything is uncertain. No one can predict with confidence when the pandemic will end. But we won't know when it is going, but we say, okay, next year, within 6 months. But again, we can see there's another variant coming. Now there's another variant. We all are, little scared about that because people say that, you don't have symptoms. But when are we going to have cure? So that is called uncertainty in this society and the complexity. Things are very complex. Whatever you do, you can see now you can't have a smooth run, smooth sail. Things are complex. The pandemic is affecting all aspects of our life, including, say, healthcare, education, economy, and social life, and in a complex way. So in a complex way, if you want to have a social gathering, you can't do that. So then you have a lot of restrictions. That is C. And A, VUCA. A is ambiguity. So it's very, very ambiguous because there are no best practice. There are no best practice that our lives can follow to manage the challenges caused by pandemic. So these are the VUCA words, especially I being the chartered accountant who practice. I don't want to have these 4 words in my mind because it's very, very scary. And I being a banker, I'm very worried because what's going to happen to my exchange rate tomorrow? What's going to happen to my customers whom we have lent trillions and trillions of money? So what's going to happen? So then everything is, in a suspense kind of mode. So I think that will applicable to each one of you, whatever the discipline you are in. Now you can't say, look here, I'm not in the VUCA world. But looking at leading with, we have to lead with VUCA. So for that, I think I will let you know there are 4 things that we have. Vision. V is vision. So, I mean, as students, we will not allow to change or to, cloud our vision. I'm a strong believer about the vision. So, however, you might change the strategy now. You need to change the strategy to achieve your vision, which is very important. That is what I'm talking about. That vision has to be, now you should never, ever compromise your vision, but you must compromise for your vision. Again, I'm telling you, you should never, ever compromise your vision, but you must compromise for your vision. Now you have to change your direction. You have to change your direction and then make sure that you achieve your target. So that is very, very important. And then again, U is understanding. One is vision. Another one is understanding. Now, quickly changing and unpredictable environment we are in. So we must fully understand those changes are going to happen. Those are inevitable. We'll have to face this and their impact to your studies and your other day-to-day life. Then you have to develop your strategies. And then so overall, you need to understand about that, that we are in difficult time. And the clarity, you have a very, very clear concern, you may have a concern about the future and whether you will be able to secure a decent, let's say, job, decent business, or you need to make sure that you're comfortable. That is my C in that, because it's very, very, very important. And the A is adaptability and agility. Adaptability and agility, because to face significant changes in our life, because especially we are in the talking about coronavirus, we must be flexible and agile and adapt your strategies based on the new situation. We are talking about new normal, so new situation, because these are important things in our life. These are important things in our life, because if not, it's very, very hard to face these challenges and to stay in tough times. I hope that you understand. Especially when you are in rough weather, I strongly believe, I used to preach people, look here, when you are in rough weather, everyone will have to sail the ship properly. Otherwise, it's going to be misdirected. So everyone, you can't have passengers in this game. Even if you are working as a team, which is very, very important, every one of us will have to do our part. If not, we are going to misdirect, which is very, very important. So for that, I think we need to make sure that we stay positive. Because you can't have negativity. I can see a lot of people, when I see some people in the morning, their face is like gold face. They are not smiling. Sri Lankans are very famous for smiling. I can understand there are issues, but what do? Can we stay negative? No, we can't stay negative. We need to make sure that we stay positive. So when you stay positive, you are putting yourself in the best position possible. It's a psychological. When you are in positive mood. But again, when you are in negative mood, that you are in the defensive mode. That you should never do that. Because Sri Lanka needs people like you, because we need to make sure that we take this Sri Lanka into a different level. That's very, very important. And we can remain positive and remind yourself that there is really a light at the end of the tunnel. Because we are not going to continue with this difficult time forever. Not forever. It might last another, let's just say, 6 months, 1 year. So who cares? So we need to make sure that we are staying positive. And also your focus is important. Whatever you do, you focus. Your focus is important. And your focus, that is something that you can control, not what you can't. You can control your focus and stay positive, which is very important. So, and that's what Steve Jobs, I think I have few role models in my life. Steve Jobs said, stay positive, stay hungry. So that's important. And when you are focused, your situations, now beyond your control will certainly you can look at, you can foresee. So as a result, I think you can make sure that you bring, if you are misdirected, you bring everything into one line of thinking. It's important. And focus things that are within your control. So focus what you can, because there may be certain things that you cannot control. But don't think about that. Think what you can control. So then it's easy for you to stay, against rough weather, or stay, the tough times, which is very important. And you need to realize that you have come a long way. That is what I do. I have come a long way through very hardships. And then I always make sure that you need to look at your future. It's not the past. You reflect your past, but that doesn't mean that you are going to live in the past, but you look at the future. Your future is very, very important, because if you are going to stay, look, the back history, that's going to be history, which is very, very important. Because Winston Churchill, one of the greatest, the prime ministers, Great Britain ever produced. He said that today newspaper, tomorrow waste paper. Today newspaper, tomorrow waste paper. So therefore, the things are changing very fast. Your knowledge have to be updated every day. But he told this about a few decades ago, at least maybe about 40, 50 years ago. But today, every moment, every hour, things are changing. So you can't stay in the past. Make sure that you are updated your knowledge, you are current. So therefore, still you have to stay positive, which is very important. And give everything credit to what you have done. What you have done in life, you make sure that you give credit. Yes, we have done something good. We have done something good, and give yourself a confidence. You have to boost your confidence. The confidence building is important. For that, of course, you may have to look at others, how others are doing, but good ones, role models. I'm a strong believer about that. I read a lot of things about role model, and you need to build up your community. And when you say you have to build up your community, you need to have right people around you, right people with good attitudes, people with positive attitudes, not with negative attitudes. So then it's very easy for you to make sure that you are in the comfort zone. Your life is going to be comfortable. And people who care about you, you need to make sure that you associate them. So then you need to have someone who can tell the truth and honestly what exactly you should do. So if you have any issues, definitely you have to counsel. There are counseling. Even Kaushali also, she said that she is doing counseling, which is very important. Even for us, we need. If you have any issue, you must go and talk to someone who will give you the proper guidance, advice. That's important. And be kind to yourself. You need to care yourself to survive in tough times. So I believe that you understand that, because you need to care for yourself to survive, especially during these tough times. Take a walk and watch a movie, read a book, go for a walk. And I do that every morning. I get up at 4:30 and I run about 4 to 5 kilometers altogether, because I spend about 1 to 1.5 hours in the morning. And I think that makes my whole day, and go to office. And then I read papers, read my mails. By 9 o'clock, I'm done, because I'm handling 3 places at least on a regular basis, apart from my being, the non-executive director in various places. But these are my routine, and I do it. I stay positive. I'm updated. I read everything, and I have my own, the ways of doing things, and I have my liking, disliking. I do it. So that is important. So then I'm sure that, you can stay positive, and you forgive. You forgive whatever, someone else's fault. And those, I think always you must have courage to forgive others. That's another thing that when you do it, your positive things, your feelings will come out. Your positive and feelings will come out, which is very important. And take care of yourself through healthy eating habits and regular exercise. I said that exercise, but eating habits, very important. If you are a mature person, sometimes we have our drinking habits and all that. And of course, you please try to control those, and then make sure that, nowhere you are not going to take or the drinks or anything will not take you anything. Professional counsel, again, is important if you have anything. I again humbly request you, try to avoid as much as possible social media. In Sri Lankan social media, I don't think that I should tell what exactly, because 75%, 80% of things what we receive is totally irrelevant. And that is, sometimes your mind is prejudiced, and you are looking at just wasting of your time. And end of the day, what are we going to do? You take it and then forward it someone without knowing the gravity, and you do the maximum damage to others. Why do you want to do that? In my case, whenever I receive something, I look at and see, spontaneously I ask myself, should I send it to someone, forward it? If not, I just delete it. I think that culture, we have to have it here in Sri Lanka, which is important. And when you are having tough times, sometimes we tend to deviate from certain things. We tend to leave. Now, let us say, in Sri Lanka, you have seen that we are trying to leave this wonderful, beautiful country. I can see sometime we have seen so many stories that there are large queues. I think getting certain documentation certified, then people are talking about every youth is leaving this country. No, that is, I think you need to understand every year, Sri Lanka, we are, about 250,000 people are going abroad. When you have lockdown period, obviously, there's going to be a huge queue. That doesn't mean that everyone is migrating. Of course, you can go for higher studies. You may go for various other things. In my case, I never wanted to because I'm a patriot. And I have brought my life into this situation through, by working here in Sri Lanka, never earn a single, the foreign currency, but I am decent enough to live a very comfortable life. But I need to tell you, and when you are going to now, last 3 or 4 decades, Sri Lanka has lost about 3 million people. 3 million people, and they have gone abroad and they settled down, including my own friends, and some of them are from my own profession. But they go first for seeking jobs, but finally they settle down there and they don't even come to Sri Lanka. But let me tell you a few things. Now tough times. Okay, you want to go and settle down somewhere else, but why do you want to do that? Because I'm telling you a few things, but wherever you go, with my experience, my friends tell me, look here, we become either second or third citizen in those respective countries. Should we become that? No, we have a very comfortable life. Of course, there are hiccups here and there. Wherever, whichever country you go, you can see you have these difficulties. It's not only here in Sri Lanka. So therefore, please look at that. And live in this country will not have a guaranteed, the position, guaranteed whatever job opportunity, and the guaranteed, the success, guaranteed success. So nothing is certain, and you will have enough difficulties. So are we going to face that situation? And most of us have been educated through, in my case, a free education system, because I right throughout. And also, Sri Lanka is a famous country where we give enough free things, even including health, and subsidized things. But when you go abroad, you won't have anything like that, or anything. So therefore, please look at and see. Another thing is, we feel that, okay, we want to make sure that your parents say that, look, you go abroad and you can earn. But parents and siblings, they like to have our presence, not presence. That is very important. So therefore, although they don't say, that they really worry when the children are not around. Of course, I know people send the amounts monthly, but that alone won't help. So please look at that also, because this may not be really connected to the topic, but still I thought that I must tell you. And other thing is, there are extremism and hardships that you are going to face. Would you like to get into those traps? And important. So some people say, look, your current political scenario, administration, not so. But leaving the country is not the right decision. But we must make sure that we must try to correct those. So those are very important. And stay positive, and that is very important. But your dream is important. And as the Richard Branson, he's one of my role models again. He said that you need to have a big dream. That big dream must scare you. Otherwise, having small dreams is not important. So I can tell you so many things. I think now I would have probably spent the time that I have been given. And I'll be very happy to take questions or concerns or comments or criticism, anything that you would like to share with me. And thank you very much once again. I would have done whatever, my part. Over to my friends. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sujeewa, and really appreciate you. Very valuable thoughts that came in, and exactly the kinds of advice that we were actually looking for the youngsters. So a few questions have come in, and I'm going to shoot it from the team. The first one is, as a person who has served the private sector, how is it to work for the public sector?
That's an interesting question. Private sector, I must tell you, I'm a very, very strict disciplinarian. There are no question. When I say my time is 7, time is 7. Even my firm, they know that I have trained thousands and thousands of people. But, when it, and also we are totally focused, and we are basically our remuneration, golden principle in private sector is you need to generate revenue for you to remunerate. If not, it's difficult. That means totally, the performance driven culture. But when it comes, my firm, Video Partners, our tagline is exceptional client service, and we don't compromise that. But when it comes for the other side, it's totally upside down. And so, of course, it's a service-oriented organization and fairly good, very strong unions. And for slightest things, they ask my secretary, look here, can we meet chairman? And they come and meet us, and they have whole heap of lists to say that, okay, this is wrong, that is wrong, this is wrong. And it's very hard. And the moment that you are going to put a pressure, that there are various other elements, and the stakeholders will come and say, look here, don't do this, we will allow them to do this, because end of the day, there are certain things that which I don't want to tell here, but totally different. But I'm dreaming one fine day, the state-owned sector or the state-owned enterprises also need to make sure that they are having this performance-based culture, because now annual increments, and increments are given whether you perform or not. Another thing is about these pensions. Of course, with all due respect, now we, Rohanta, you and I both are from private sector. We never have anything in our mind about our pensions. Why should we have pensions? Because we can't give that burden to those institutions until I go 6 feet under the ground. So I think that's another issue in this country, because I can understand if we work during the time that we are supposed to work, yes, then obviously at least you can say that you deserve. But if you don't work, and still if you expect pension and things like that, sometimes there's a question mark whether we do the right thing, because there's a major disparities, doctor, between private sector and public sector. But when you are wearing different hats, you need to make sure that you know how you manage the situation, which is very important.
Sujeewa, what do you think are the key characteristics that you see? I mean, I remember, I've been also chairman of 3 corporations, Export Development Board, Tourism, and, Lanka Satosan. If somebody asks me, what do you think of the productivity of the public sector? The first thing I say is they are much better than even the private sector when it comes to the middle management. They are very conscious, very loyal. They are honest citizens. It's only the few of them who go and actually do distrustful things. And if you ask the people who are demotivated, what happens is it's because they have not connived with some politicians. They have chucked in some corner, or they see the leadership taking wrong decisions, and then they say, I don't want to be part of it because that fellow is green or blue or pink or red. And that's why ultimately you have people at 3:30, combing their hair, waiting to go home.
Absolutely.
So what do you think, in your view, Sujeewa, since you work for one of the top banks in this country, and you have also been on the boards of top private sector banks like the NDB, you have worked in top companies. I mean, you're one of the best professionals right now in the field of accountancy in Sri Lanka. So what do you see is the difference, Sujeewa?
The difference is mainly, driven by their, the attitudes. The attitude is very, very important, because private sector attitude is, completely, because you are given certain amount of tasks that you are supposed to complete that within a given time. If not, your sustainability is a major question. But when it comes to the other side, and there are nothing like that. You are trying to be in the comfort zone. Obviously, you are in the comfort zone. You are not being, the challenge, and then it's very easy to sustain. That is now one aspect. Another aspect is about their, the interpersonal skills or the soft skills. And public sector, you are not very focused about those attributes. But whereas private sector, if you want to become a smart guy, if you want to become a smart worker, not hard worker, there are two things: hard worker and smart worker. If you want to become smart worker, you need to have those attributes like soft skills and interpersonal skills and things like that. So those are the things that I can see, and all survival kind of game. So that is where those attributes are absolutely important from private sector and the other sector, which is not coming.
Sujeewa, there's a very interesting question coming while you're talking. I'm just going through all the questions which are coming in. It's from it's one of the MBA students from Staffordshire University studying from Singapore. His name is Isuru, and he's asking, what is the real financial situation in the country? Can you tell us an unbiased view?
That's what I told. I think I'm sure Isuru would have listened to me when I told that, how Sri Lanka has been predominantly, having, the 2-3 income lines. One is about, the leisure, I said, apparel and remittance from our friends who are working abroad. And those are badly affected. Then obviously, at least my gut feeling is we would have lost about 12 to 15 billion US dollars within this period. So then tell me, have we ever reduced our consumption, doctor? Have we ever reduced spending on unnecessary stuff? Have we ever reduced our, the vehicles on the road? I mean, I'm sure that, each one of us at home, we are having 2-3 vehicles, and every vehicle is working. Have you ever thought that, look here, we must help the government or the economy by reducing some, the consumption and things like that, whatever the consumption, we have not done. So as a result, I know the amount of dollars, and every year, every month, about $70-100 million, mind you, right? Spending only on petrol, the petroleum. I mean, this is I mean, I can tell you public because that is so difficult. Then in the meantime, imagine the amount of money Sri Lanka has spent on vaccination, massive amount, and now booster, massive amount. So that is the issue we are having. Yes, at the moment, we are in difficult time, I must tell you. And it's not a rosy picture at this moment, but each one, and tell me, now the central bank has brought in certain regulations recently. Look here, if you are going to send your money through Undial system, I hope that we know what Undial system is, because that's a illegal system. You will be in trouble. That is because people don't remit that money here, but there are certain, the groups that they collect this money from that country itself, and then they use those money for various illegal activities. Sometimes it could be terrorism, it could be drugs and things like that. That is what central banks say. So these are the difficulties you need to understand. It's not the government issue, it's our own issue. So therefore, at the moment we are in difficulties, but the government is, this is what I made to understand, that they are looking at various options to make sure that we are going to be comfortable. So at this moment, to answer Isuru's question directly, yes, like any other country, we are also in difficulty.
Very interesting question is coming out. What made you take this challenge as the chairman of a state organization? When you are a success, you are a success in the private sector.
Doctor, I simply because I have undertaken this task, impossible task probably maybe, that doesn't mean that, I'm unsuccessful in the private sector or public sector. When I took over these both institutions, People's Bank and People's Leasing, I have brought it to a different level now. Even if you look at the brand recognition, we are, I think, one of the top. And, recently concluded certain, the events, we became top 10, one of the top 10, the entities here in Sri Lanka. And likewise, there were so many, not that I'm going behind those accolades, but I'm telling you, because now when you do that, because your entire the employees, 7,500 employees also aligning to that, which is very productivity. So that is important. So therefore, I'm a man who always take up challenges. We both were sitting in one of the most distressed companies here in Sri Lanka, the finance, but we never hesitate to sit there, and we would have had enough arguments, enough things, but still we brought it to a different level. So then end of the day, you get a kick out of that. You have done something for the country. But a lot of people don't want to do that. But in my case, when there are opportunities, when there are challenges, I grab it. And finally, when I leave the place, I'll be the happiest person because I have done something. And this country, last 2 years during pandemic, the amount of people who came to me and the amount of things that we have done for those people is enormous. I mean, they come with tears and finally they leave with smile. That is what I like, when in the evening, when I go home, how many people I have been able to satisfy. So that is what I do it now. That's the chance given to you. So I should not miss that, Doctor.
I mean, fantastic, Sujeewa. I mean, I yet remember, when we took over the finance, when we sat in, how many people said, do you know that your personal property can be held responsible
Absolutely.
If something happens, if it goes, and then we brought it up with the central bank governor, and they said, okay, we will go to court and give you protection, but do this task. And,
Absolutely.
but yet none of us shook on our responsibilities. We went to the board meetings, we took decisions, and there was so much of pressure. But I yet remember, I mean, I used to look up to you because, I mean, you're the accountant. And when tough decisions are made, when you say, no, I think we are going to do this, and I used to have a lot of respect for you. But tell us, I mean, very humble advice I'm asking you, Mr. Chairman. What is your advice to a youngster today? Because, when the guys get up in the morning, all what you see is negativity, bad decisions. I mean, actually, the debt issue is not a problem, if you ask me. But when it comes to bad decisions, it hurts a professional, So what is your advice to a youngster? Because they have decided that they are not going to go abroad. Currently, this batch has said, no, I'm staying here. I'm going to somewhat make it somehow. What is your humble advice, Sujeewa, to the youngsters?
My humble advice is, I think, as I said, stay positive. Stay positive. And we understand that there are a lot of issues. There are very, very bad decisions. But still, there's a silver light. There's a silver line. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. And please make sure that don't become just employees. Become an entrepreneur. Become an entrepreneur. That is what matters. Sri Lanka is lacking a lot of entrepreneurs because now, if you can start up with the SME sector, then you can straight away you can go to have your vision and focus it for because have the manufacturing kind of enterprise and then do it. Don't follow those, just go and sit and work for 8 hours and then become an employee. That is what I am telling you. Of course, every day when you look at the paper, don't read papers, unnecessary things. I'm telling you, headlines in newspapers are all useless because they are doing a business, right? They would like to make sure that their circulation is very high. So therefore, there's a story, something, someone has killed, someone has raped, someone has done this, drug trafficking and all. No, make sure that you read something important. You go to business page and read something and take that into your mind. And then make sure that this is what my humble advice, become entrepreneur if possible. I'm sure you don't need to have a large capital. You don't need to have. You start up with a small capital. And the people who have conquered the whole world, don't think that they had billions and billions of dollars. No, sometimes Steve Jobs has started in a garage. I think I can tell you, I got enough stories. So likewise, you have your vision to become so and so. That is what I think I would like to. I'm very happy to hear when you say that your batch is not going to leave. That is what specifically I mentioned 5-6 reasons why they should not leave this beautiful country, Doctor?
That's a very interesting question coming. What made you select accountancy as a career?
That is important. Yes, that have been one of the turning points in my life. Of course, I studied in Richmond College, and I did my A levels commerce. It is my father who insisted me to do chartered accountancy. Of course, he's a farmer in a village, but he is a visionary. He was a visionary, of course, both dead and gone. He was a visionary person, or both visionary people, although they were in a village, and it is he who did it. He the one who put me into my firm to continue with my training. And then, of course, I was good at my accountancy and things like that. Then I knew that was the future. And I continuously did it. And I have never ever compromised. I wanted to become a chartered accountant. I never compromised my vision to become a chartered accountant. Finally, I achieved. I think I advise all these young, the boys and girls, set your target and go for it, which is very, very important. And there will be enough disturbances while you are going to achieve your vision. But who cares? Don't worry about that.
It's another very interesting question coming. He's studying from the Staffordshire University MBA from UAE. He says, what did you learn from your MBA? I know that you did your MBA from PIM, one of the best MBAs in Sri Lanka. What did you learn from the MBA?
Interesting. No. Actually, one thing I must tell you, when I enrolled as an MBA student, I had practical experience. But I generally, I don't know whether it is good for me to say, I prefer students to acquire some kind of practical experience before you start your MBA. Then you will learn the theory very well. I have studied a lot from my MBA because as like APIT, the PIM MBA also very tough MBA where you have entire, the gamut of, the theoretical aspect coupled with practical. During my MBA, I learned how to have a work-life balance. Very, very tough. But apart from that, you name it, economics, productivity, on this and that, we have so many things I learned, and those are still, I'm practicing some of those. I think you will never regret when you become MBA, the graduate. But don't do MBA simply because you want to add another 3 letters in front of your, the name.
Interesting question coming. It's from a lady called Ruth. She's at Seychelles. She's also studying for the Staffordshire MBA from Seychelles, and she's saying, "You are a success in the private sector, and you have also turned around a public sector company to be one of the top 10 companies. What is your next challenge you will take?"
Yeah, because as a human being, I think your needs are sometimes endless. Your needs are endless. But I have been offered another 1 or 2 places. But one thing, I need to serve common people in this country. Why do I say that? People's Bank has, out of 22.5 million population, we have 14 million customers. 14 million customers, but mainly cooperative sector and SME sector. I want to make sure that they are basically totally and we always provide them the best. It's not only the capital, but best advisors and including a lot of things. But I want to make sure one fine day they are having a smiling faces in respect of whatever the businesses they do. Because these are all one thing we need to understand, these are all impermanent places. Okay, today is supposed to say all political appointments, And today, if the political hierarchy says, Sujeewa, now it's enough, can you please get out? So, of course, I'll be the happiest person because I know that these are not permanent. I'll go somewhere and do it. But one thing I never want to leave this country, I'll make sure that I support the common and the the SME people in this country. That is my forte, and I will make sure that I continue. I'll be the happiest person. Then I'm not interested in making large amount of money and all that. Money is not everything, because I need to have a decent spiritual life also, which is very important. I practice, and then you will be, end of the day, you will be very happy.
Last question, Sujeewa. I know I promised to let you go at 7:30. What advice would you give young Sujeewa, who is 21 years old, just finished Richmond, did his accountancy, and just starting life? What advice would you give him?
Yeah, I think my advice would have been, make sure become a good citizen. Become a good citizen. Become a smart worker, smart person. Because a lot of people don't have that smartness. And your soft skills, I again reiterate, soft skills is absolutely important. And then you will be a person whom you, one fine day when you are at the age of 55 or 60, you will be very happy to see that, okay, and give something back to the country, and give something back to wherever you have studied, and your parents. So I think that is what lacking in our society. So that would be my advice to young 21-old Sujeewa.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Sujeewa Rajapakse, Chairman of People's Bank, People's Leasing. It is so fantastic chatting with you, and with all your engagements and responsibilities, taking your time off to speak to the next future generation. I mean, it's more to do with your purpose. And I mean, I've been knowing you for so long, and it's actually lovely to meet such nice human beings, which you get so seldom today. And thank you so much, Sujeewa, and I really appreciate for making time. Kaushali, over to you, please.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Indeed, such inspirational story. As I always say, this is information, this is experience that is coming from all these citizens, and we cannot take this in a notebook, or we cannot take this from a theoretical book. So I'm very thankful to you today for joining us, sir, and for providing all our students this opportunity to share experience. And as you very correctly said, tough times do come, and how we look at it is what's going to be making the difference. Absolutely. So thank you very much for your time today, and we will meet back again in another week. Until then, good night from here.
Thank you very much. Thanks for all the support, and I'll be very happy if there's anything I can do for you in future. Please feel free to call me. I'll be there at your service. Thanks, Doctor. Thank you.
Thank you, Sujay. Take care.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.